Okay, now we have to get into something, graphing lines. They're also known as linear equations. Linear equations because they're equations and they turn into lines when you graph them. So that is our goal right now. This still belongs to 2.1. It's part of homework number 7, and it still belongs to 2.1 in your book. Okay, so we are talking about graphing. Let me write that down up on top. The subject is graphing, and we're going to be using plotting points to graph. So I'm going to have you show you my system of how to graph in that way. We're graphing lines. Okay, so obviously the goal is that we have to go to a graph. It's going to have a y-axis and an x-axis, right? We'll try to do a good job of plotting the points and graphing if we can. There's our graph waiting to happen, but here is problem number 1. I haven't even given you the problem yet. My graph is waiting, but here's problem number 1. Problem number 1 is 2x plus 3y equals 12. And we are supposed to graph this. Okay, so what follows is going to look like a tic-tac-toe. A little bit like tic-tac-toe, an x and y on top. And what we need to do is put a 0 here in the upper left and a 0 here in the bottom right. And we got to fill out the two other places, the two blank spaces in that chart there. How do you do that? Here's how you do it. What you do is you take we go to scrap paper, and what we got to do is, if this is saying if x is 0, what is y? So let's replace x with 0. 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 12. 2 times 0 is nothing, so it's 3y equals 12. Divide by 3 on left, divide by 3 on right, you get y equals 4. Half our chart is ready. We can put a little 4 in here. Okay, now what if y is 0? What is x? So let's write this all over again. 2x plus 3 times 0, because y is 0, equals 12. 3 times 0 is nothing, so it's 2x equals 12. 2 divided by 2 on the left-hand side, 2 divided by 2 on the right-hand side, and you get x equals 6. Right? I forgot to, up here, cross this out. Y equals 4, x equals 6. Where do I put it? Here is where I put it. My chart is complete. Ignore this little thing. I don't want to go to the eraser and waste time with that. So there we have 0, 4, and 6, 0. So we took from this equation up here, we got out of there through our scrap paper. By making x 0, we got what y is 4. By making y 0, we got x is 6. What did we create? We created 2 points. We can go to our graph and graph it. 0, 4 is don't go right, don't go left, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and show that label it. That's called a label. Label it with 0, 4. Then take the other point, the point that we got over here, 6, 0. Come back, go over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we've got 6, 0. They're both plotted. 2 points are plotted. Graph the line in between the 2 points. There's one more thing to do, which is to label this. This line is called 2x plus 3y equals 12. And we've got our line completely graphed. That's how you graph a line. Now, let me ask you a question. 1A. The same given. Let's talk about the same given right over here, the same given. What are the intercepts? What are the x-intercept? Just 2 intercepts, the x-intercept and the y-intercept. What are they? What are the coordinates of the x-intercept? And what are the coordinates of the y-intercept? Now, I didn't explain what an intercept is, but we're going to explain it right now. The 2 points that we've created over here are exactly the intercepts. Why? What's the definition? This line crosses through the y-axis. Where does it cross through the y-axis? At the point 0, 4. That's the y-intercept. So I'm showing you the definition of an intercept by actually looking at our problem. That is the y-intercept. Where does this line that we've just created cross through the x-axis? Right over here at 6, 0. That's the x-intercept. So your chart right over here on the right-hand side tells you your intercepts. The first line is the one with the numbers underneath the y, that's your y-intercept. And the one with the number underneath the x, that's your x-intercept. Both intercepts are there. So in the question like this, I could have asked, instead of asking you to graph, I could have asked an easier question. I could have said, what are the intercepts? So you go follow and do this chart, go do the scrap paperwork and create this chart. And then you say, okay, you want the intercepts? You don't want me to graph? Then here are your intercepts. 0, 4 is the y-intercept, and 6, 0 is the x-intercept, and I don't have to bother graphing. So this tic-tac-toe chart can help you to graph, and it also can answer the question about what are the intercepts. It can answer this question, what are the x-intercept and y-intercept of this particular line? Okay, now, we've got more space on our paper. I got to show you a special case where things get a little bit more difficult. Nothing terrible, just a little bit more difficult. I got to bring up our piece of paper like I've done in the past, but I got to be careful. Bring it up. There we go. I don't want to go too far. And here comes problem number 2, which is going to cause us a little bit of consternation. Let me show you what I mean. What if you're asked to graph the same thing, same question, graph, but here's a case, 2x plus y. Okay, so while waiting over here on the right-hand side, wait a minute, that was a mistake. I need this to go back up. There we go. Waiting over here on the right-hand side, is our y-axis and our x-axis. X-axis, our y-axis. It's waiting, but we've got work to do before that. Okay, something's going to go wrong. Don't worry, we'll fix it. Something's going to wrong, but I'm just warning you that something's going to go wrong. So we're supposed to graph this. So let's go and do what we did before, and set up our chart with a 0 on the upper left and a 0 on the upper right, but something's going to go wrong. All right, but let's pretend nothing's going to go wrong for the moment. I go to my scrap paper. I say, okay, what does this first line say? If x is 0, what is y? So what that's supposed to say is 2x is equal to y, not plus, is supposed to be equal to y. There we go. I didn't have to go get the eraser. Going to get the eraser is a pain. Okay. So 2x is equal to y. Now, go to my scrap paper. If x is 0, that's 2 times 0 equals y. 2 times 0 is 0, so y equals 0. Turns out that if x is 0, y is 0. Oh, that's a red flag. That means it's not going to work out in the line number 2. It's not going to work out in line number 2. We've got to do something. All right, so this time I'm actually going to have to array. If you see that, it's a red flag. You've got to do something. This 0 is going to be useless to us. We got to go up to this point over here. Let me get back to the regular schedule here. Get my eraser, my hard eraser. That's the thing that works. Come over here and erase it. There we go. That's what I'm forced to do. I need to get rid of that 0, because if I see 0, 0 over here, then if I try the 0, I'll just get another 0. I won't get 2 points. I'll get the same point over again. But I need 2 points, so I can't afford to keep going. I've got to do something. Go back and get my pencil, and here I come with my pencil. And I've got to make up some number over here. Any number I want, and it'll work for me. What's the idea? I need 2 points. I got 1 point, 0, 0. I need another point. I can make up any number I want for x. And but don't make up 1,562. That's not going to be helpful. It's It's going to be way off the charts. Take a small number. I always try to take the number 1. Okay, x is equal to 1. Well, if x is equal to 1, let's go back to our original problem. If x is equal to 1, go back to scrap paper. X is equal to 1. 2 times x equals y. That means y is equal to 2. Okay, I've got 2 numbers. So even if something goes wrong with the 0, 0, this is an exceptional case, 0, 0, then I just have to improvise, go to the next line, pick the number 1 over here in the lower left, plug it into our equation. 2 times 1 is equal to y, so y is equal to 2. And I've got myself 2 points. I come over to my graph. The first point is 0, 0. It's the origin. Okay, I plot it, and I write down its label. The next one is go to the right 1, go up 2. That's the point 1, 2. Connect the 2. Give the label to the line, call it by its name, 2x is equal to y. And we've got our whole line graphed, and it's labeled. And this problem is over. And just because we got a 0, 0 over here, you just improvise. You say, go to the next line, erase the 0 that you had before, put in a number, a small number like 1, plug in the 1, get y is equal to 2. You got 2 points. Go plot your 2 points, draw your line, and it's graphed. Now, here's the question. Let me ask you a question. Let me call it 2A. It's going to be a very short question and a very easy question. What are the x-intercept of this line and the y-intercept of this line? This one that we just did. Answer. Normally I would ask this in class and ask you what you think. It's a little hard to do that here. Here's the answer. The x-intercept of this line, where does the line go through the x-axis? It goes through at 0, 0. Where does this line go through the y-axis? It goes through at 0, 0. It happens to be that the x-intercept and the y-intercept are one and the same. They're the same point, 0, 0. It's an exceptional situation. And that's how to graph lines. You're equipped now to be able to get a line, and you're either going to use the, it's going to be a regular normal line like problem number 1, where you'll fill in the tic-tac-toe chart and you'll get 2 different points. You'll plot them and you'll plot your line. Or you'll have an exceptional situation where you get a 0, 0. You improvise with a 1 here, plug in the 1, and then whatever you get, in our case we got 2. Now you got 2 points, plot the points, and you got yourself a line. That's how to graph. That's a system of graphing. It doesn't even take that long. And with that, we finished basically what we need for 2.1. And in the next video, we can move on to 2.2. So we'll stop here at the video at this point.